Back streets back. All right. Peg me, daddy. I'm ready to receive. Six, seven. One man saying that is fine. If that's your opinion and you're not in it, that's fine. But there is an entire market of millions and millions of people that agree that it is a store of value. So, you can think one thing, but there's also a market, and markets tend to become efficient over time.
We do know that you will always get paid in Hex on a daily basis. And that is truly the miracle that we call Hex, because it is trustless interest, trustless yield. Nothing will stop that contract from running.
Crypto tokens do you hold? 6 or 7? Six,
seven.
Welcome in to the Creed of Crypto. My name is Backstreet Boy Crypto. I have here with me, as always, my friend and co-host Crypto Ewok. We got a lot of people already pouring into the chat, and we're going to talk about this week $80,000 Bitcoin. Who would have thunk it? Well, actually, if you look at last week's episode, we speculated that this could happen. Yep, just last week. If even a blind squirrel catches a fish every couple Tuesdays once in a while when he's right, or whatever that saying is. Hey, we called Bitcoin moving up quickly, and it kind of has. I think we said more like we could see 85K in a week, but it didn't quite get to there yet. But things have been moving up, which is nice to see. We're going to get into that, not necessarily celebrating some full-blown bull market or anything at all. But welcome to everybody in the chat. We got some good folks here tonight. We got DJ and Moonboy gracing us with his presence, so thank you to you. We got Valiant Low Key. We got Fast Abdul hanging out. He's enjoying the 6-7 tech for sure. We've got Checks My Pulse. Always good to see you as well, my friend. We've got Scrubhead. Man, everybody just pouring on in. So good to see all of you guys as we are here on the very first Wednesday, and it's gonna be May 6th. Ewok, how are you doing this on this fine May night?
I'm doing just peachy. As I was telling you, and I think we talked about it last week, just work has been busy. So, it's a kind of a good thing. Keep your mind occupied and away from things when it isn't really popping off. But then you look, and actually things are looking pretty decent, and a nice little rally. So, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm just going through the flow with the daily things in life, and killing time until exciting stuff happens.
Definitely good to have lots going on in real life right now. Not that crypto isn't real. It is on the blockchain. I can't touch it, I guess, but I know it, But yeah, definitely good to have a lot of things going on IRL right now. And it has been interesting. I was good last week here within crypto. I mean, any move up is good, even though most people are saying, hey, this is just a short-term bull move before we go down again. Q4 of 2026 will be new lows, blah, 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 blah. We shall see. I mean, we don't know. There's been a lot of debate, obviously. One thing that we've talked about for months on here is that really nobody has called what's gone on over this last year or two of crypto correctly. I mean, in any direction at all, whether it's, Bitcoin just being muted, the fact that Ethereum never did anything really other than just return to its previous high, no alt season really to speak of. nothing like that. And yeah, institutional inflows into Bitcoin. It's kind of a new game now. So let's just get right into where we're at there. I mean, yeah, we've had Bitcoin gradually move up here over the last week and sits right now at a little over 81K. We're at 81,300 for Bitcoin. We have ETH, actually, its ratio just toppling a little bit right now. It's at 2350 at the moment. I saw that it's back down to like just below 0.029 right now to Bitcoin, but might just be because Bitcoin also has been hot over this last week.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of people, I mean, again, don't let what some bulls happen to say fool you. I mean, I think the majority of the people that are here in this market right now, which is not retail because they never showed up, but the people that are within the market and calling their shots. I mean, most people are short right now. Most people are looking for, you know, a repeat of 2022 or 2018 and a new low in this bear market that we are in the later this year. So that's what most people are expecting. You know, obviously the views are all over the place. I mean, Bitcoin didn't even do a 2x over last cycle's all-time high. It only got up to 126K in October of last year. And there's just been so much debate. Is this a continuation of whatever bull market we had already been in, where Ethereum, again, never really went above its previous all-time high and there was no real alt season? Is all, you know, a lot of people saying alt season's dead forever. They're never coming back. Ethereum's never coming back, blah, blah, blah. One thing I think is for certain is that we have seen, like I just said, over this last couple of years, I don't think anybody really knows anything. And I mean, obviously that's always the case, but everything that many people profess to know, including us, frankly, over the history of crypto was really just defeated over these last few years, including, you know, most of us, everybody thought like Ethereum getting to 10K was like an embarrassment. Like if Ethereum would have gotten to only $8,000, that would have been a joke, an embarrassment. Of course, it's going to 15,000. That's what most people would have thought. And it barely makes a new all-time high for like one day. Again, Bitcoin not even doing a 2x over last cycle's high. So this was not a euphoric cycle. I mean, all of the major influencers, I think, are at least saying that. We have all this institutional money in Bitcoin now. It's been kind of co-opted by that. Are we now just going to see, instead of these, you know, very strict 4-year cycles with a blow off top, a more institutional grinding up type move for Bitcoin? And then what about Ethereum? Are we just never going to see it do well again? Because it really, I mean, I understand it had a bull market for all the gaslighting people out there, but it went from what, $850 to about $4,900. Yes, that is a good move, definitely. And if you DCA to the ETH during that time, but let's not kid ourselves. I mean, it had absolutely blown those types of numbers out of the water in previous markets. It didn't even do, it didn't do any improvement over its previous cycle. So, where do you think we're at, Ewok? I mean, it's all over the place. Obviously, again, most people are bearish, and that's fine, and fading this move up. But the move looks good, you know, and to cover both sides. I mean, this looks bullish right now. It'd be great if we just rallied back up. And, you know, I know a lot of people are saying, hey, we get to 85, 90K. I mean, the bears are really going to be freaking out a little bit. There's that side, but then there's also, it is still only early May, and the people that are clamoring for new lows in Q4 of this year have plenty of time to be right. So what do you make of where we're at right now, Ewok?
Yeah. So we're still sitting in this channel. You know, it did kind of break through it a little bit today, but quickly pulled back. So, you know, I'm excited to see what this move brings. If it continues through this channel and breaks out of it, some really good things could happen. You know, if it does pull back and stays within here as more of a consolidation pattern, you know, then we're looking at more of the same. So this move today, tomorrow, next couple of days is going to be really determining of what we're going to be seeing here. Obviously, it will determine what we'll see, but I think it's critical because, again, we're right in line with this channel. You know, I thought it would take a little bit longer to get up into here. I did say between 81 and 85, I think is what I said last week. But again, the channel's a little bit more at like 80, 82. So, you know, real, I mean, let's stick with the you know, the real number here. Obviously, I think it's going to be very determining. You know, if we can get through here today, tomorrow, and it goes on through, then you could see more of a run up because, you know, it when it breaks out of these consolidation channels like this, that's when they do extraordinary things. So, yeah, I'm still very, very bullish on this move. And in the past, when you do hit a bottom, I mean, just remember when the cycle does bottom out, and you go from, the where was it here? We have to go back to the last cycle. It starts to climb out. It doesn't always look, um, it doesn't just break out of a parabolic run
Mhm.
right away. So it does take a little while, and there's always a channel here. Let's try and get back into here. How long this took to play out when the bottom happened, and that was from November the whole way through January. So, 3 months there for the most part, of when this bottomed out and then decided that it was going to start its move up. So, to answer your question earlier, I think you were just kind of giving some commentary, but I do believe this is still a continuation of the move that we had. I believe that, again, the 4-year cycle with the institutional growth, all of that good stuff, may be gone for us. It became almost too predictable. And, as with markets, they are not supposed to be that predictable forever. You may have a couple good cycles and then that has to change because, again, everybody knows what's going to happen. It just doesn't work that way. So, yeah, so I think this is, again, more of an Elliott wave type thing where we have the run up, we have the calming down. And I do believe this is the start of a more substantial run up as the wave 3, of the 5-part Elliott wave. So, as with Bitcoin, like I said, I think we're looking good here. We did break through this channel, and we'll keep an eye on that. Let's look at Ethereum here.
Yeah.
It is looking a little weaker, and again, that goes back to show your ratio that you were talking about, that it's really gone under the upward channel that it had been going because Bitcoin is much stronger. So yeah, we're sitting at 0.029 currently, which is a little subpar, but that is okay because this is a trailing indicator. Usually when Bitcoin runs up, it does take a little bit of time for Ethereum to kind of catch up. Money will always move over there after Bitcoin does its thing. So I can see this kind of lagging behind a little bit. Now, I was looking at gold as well, and this is interesting too because it is making a bit of a nice little run as well. So this speaks a lot for the other hardcore investors that are kind of not sure about the U.S. dollar. This is I would say, less risky play for people who want what they call solid money. And gold and silver are looking about the same. It is having a nice little run up, and it's continuing. Had a very good day today in gold, when it went from 4,500 up to almost 47.28. So over $200 move in gold today. So again, this stuff always seems to play out first, and then they rotate in. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. Um, I do see some bullishness. I'm not sold on all-time lows here coming anytime soon or this year even. Again, by what I'm seeing, this does look like a Elliott wave, and yeah, we'll just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this move up. I mean, again, most people are fading it. Most people are expecting down. I know you do not like Bob Lucas, which is fine, but I am really curious if I sent you a post he made the other day on the cycle as a whole, just kind of where he was thinking of it right now. And I just and I know, we've done it with Ben Cohen. We talked about Ben Cohen last week, but some of these larger accounts and just what they're thinking. I mean, I tend to have more respect for the stuff that Bob Lucas puts out than the stuff Ben Cohen puts out, because I think he's relatively clearly trying to rage bait people, as we discussed last week with his support of Jerome Powell and Gary Gensler, which was very bizarre. Bob Lucas, on the other hand, is a little bit based in normalcy here. So he says, Bitcoin getting close. This is just the other day. Bitcoin getting close now to the end of a natural counter trend move in a bear market, 85 to 88K. So there you go. So there's somebody right there. And many people are saying this, that this range, even if we got to 85 or 88K, this is just a counter trend rally. However, there's a difference to this move. Counter trend moves are typically stronger, impulse, and shorter duration. This move is more consistent with base building over a longer period. For example, it has been 88 days since the low. No counter trend move to local high took anywhere near this long. It means we could be looking at more of a time-based cycle low developing over 2026. In that scenario, the next big pullback would be more of a retest of the bear range. We shall have to see. So, and yeah, he leaves plenty of room for being wrong. He was also notably extremely wrong about stocks recently when they just basically skyrocketed to new all-time highs when he was calling for the opposite. But what do you make of this, though? I'm interested in his comments here. I think he purposely makes things kind of vague sometimes, but what he says about more of a time-based thing. Like I'm trying to tell what he's actually saying here, and I guess if we saw the chart, it would also help too. I don't really care to get way that into it, but is he just talking? Do you think about like revisiting the prior lows, going to new lows? Yeah, it looks like he's looking for maybe lower than where we were at before. But he does make a good point. Like this rally has taken a very long time to happen. You know what I mean? Like usually, many people thought that we would have sprung out of the downturn that we had at the end of 2025 way back earlier in 2026. Instead, we just got pure death basically through February in 2026. So here we are now in May, getting this rally. Yeah, what do you think of Bob's post and what he's kind of forecasting there?
Well, I'm not a big fan of him. It doesn't really matter, I guess, but I don't agree with what he's saying. I mean, obviously, he's been doing this a lot longer than I have. I would imagine. I think he's up there in age. How old is Bob Lucas? Do you know?
91. No,
is he really?
No, I have no clue. He doesn't sound like an elderly man. He's a British man living in New York. That's about all I know. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't agree with what he's saying. And so basically he's one of those guys that are still stuck on a 4-year cycle. And that is just not what I'm seeing. That doesn't mean I'm right, he's wrong, or he's right, I'm wrong. Again, we won't know until this thing plays out. I just think that this looks much more, I don't know, bullish. I think we did have our bottom here. And again, when we go back to the whole when this thing bottomed, the bottom is usually a little bit lower than the previous cycle's all-time high, which was 70K. And we did get down to 60. So for me, I think that was a sufficient drop, enough below the previous all-time high to fill any kind of CME gaps that weren't filled, and move on to a higher price. I don't remember who it was. I think it actually might have even been Johnny that said, most people don't know when a low happens until a couple months later, and they look back and they're like, holy shit, this thing's still going up, right? So that's just the way this plays out, and you look back on it and it becomes obvious after time, but right now we're all just guessing. So yeah, I don't agree with what Bob's saying, and he has made some calls that were just completely inaccurate. So I'm going to stick with my prediction. I like it better anyway. I like the sounds of it more than waiting a whole nother year for this thing that he thinks going to go lower. And I think there are a lot of people waiting for it to go lower. And here's what happens when people think it's going to go lower, they are waiting for a better entry price. Well, when this thing slowly ticks up and slowly ticks up, that causes a snowball effect of people that were like, oh crap, this may not go back down there. And now I've got to buy back in at a higher price than because I thought it was going to go lower and it didn't. That works with all things. That's why many people don't ever truly catch a bottom. So yeah, it's just, again, that's my thoughts. I don't agree with what he's saying. Again, I think he's one of the 4-year firm cycle guys, and I think we've kind of outgrown that with the institutionalized purchases. with the micro strategies and things like that. And I also don't think Ethereum is kind of done for. I think you mentioned that a little while ago too.
Yeah.
I, I don't believe that. I think once this Clarity Act gets passed and people understand what's happening and things get tokenized, Ethereum is going to be the prime chain for most of that stuff. They're going to go with it. They're going to trust it because it's been around forever. Um, and you're going to see some pretty cool stuff. I think, once that starts to happen and Ethereum gets busy again, it, you take the good with the bad, right? Ethereum gets busy. That means gas prices go up. That means it gets expensive to transact. It's a good sign for people that say, hey, PulseChain's over here too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but again, I don't agree with Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's really the chief 4-year cycle guy. I mean, that's all that he believes in sternly. And keep in mind, I mean, we've said this a lot before too, but I mean, a lot of these people, not including Bob in this regard, actually, when they say 4-year cycle, they never do define what they mean by that. Like they never
Yeah.
do. Bob,
Yeah.
I've heard say before, he marks it from cycle low to cycle low. But even with his reasoning, I've heard him say before, even if Bitcoin did make a low like early in this year, he would still consider it still within the 4-year cycle. So it's like extremely malleable that people can fit this stuff into whatever they want to fit it into.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, the other thing too about all the people that are calling for like the standard 75% or whatever pullback for BTC, we just mentioned it a few minutes ago. It didn't even do a 100% move from last time's all-time high. It did like an 80% move going from 70K to 126K. So that would make you kind of naturally think, are we going to get as deep of a bear price that since we didn't get as high of a bull price?
Mm.
And with all these institutions in and them probably wanting to buy it and stabilize it a lot more than it's been, I don't know. It would stand to reason that we could have a low at something like 60K, or at the very least, why does it have to go to 30K? I don't think it does.
Right.
I really don't think it's going to 30K. Like we may be wrong that the low at 58 or 60K is in, but if it went below, I'll say even 45, I'd be kind of surprised at this point.
Yeah, me too.
You
Me
agree with
too. And Richard has always mentioned about the S curve thing, right? That whole theory of Bitcoin has reached its S curve, and when that happens, yes, your highs aren't near as high. He also did call over 200,000. So, where are you with that part of it? They kind of contradict themselves.
Mhm.
But if that is all the high that it made, it's not going to make near as a low because it didn't have a parabolic run up. It doesn't have that far to come back down. There is so much more pressure, buy pressure, and support of a lot of levels. The time you get the dramatic pullback is when it runs up like crazy, and it has to come back down to make the market right. So we didn't have that. And yeah, I mean, I believe as time goes on, you're going to have less and less of the crazy run ups, and the crazy pullbacks. It's going to become way more liquidity across the board. Yes, it's still going to make some gains, but I don't think we've reached quite that point where it just stays stable, like the stock market. You know how the stock market just keeps going up like it does forever. So, when you draw back and you look at the stock market, I mean, it does have some pullbacks, but all in all, that thing is up and to the right forever. And I believe that is just because of the devaluation of the dollar.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And, to pivot off of this, I mean, we had more macro bullish things happening. So, I mean, we've, to kind of look at the timeline over the last 6 months here. I mean, more than 6 months. I mean, since last September is when they really started to cut interest rates. Now we've seen pauses, obviously, since then. We saw them no longer, I forget how they actually put this with the balance sheet. They're being less conservative as far as that goes. They've literally started to stealth print money since last fall. They've been doing that ever since. Just now, we had Jerome Powell with his final Fed chair meeting, and we have Kevin Warsh stepping in this month for the next FOMC meeting, which that's going to be very interesting. I don't know, just with everything going in all sorts of directions, just with, what's happening with oil, gas prices, inflation, whatever. I don't know. With thinking that Kevin Warsh is going to be Donald Trump's mouthpiece, kind of, I wonder if he really will be. I mean, I don't know if I can see him cutting rates in this condition or hiking them. I don't know what the hell to think at all. So we've got all that. Obviously, we know inflation is never going to get fixed regardless, which is why we're in crypto in the first place. But then maybe most positively, if it means something, is once again for the fourth month in a row, the business ISM PMI reading came in at over 52 yet again for April. Just over the last week, we got that news. It was at 52.7. That's 4 months in a row. And I guess the interesting thing that I want to know here is what could that mean just based on the timing that this is happening? Because this is another thing when it comes to the PMI where we had just like legendarily bad, like 30 some months in a row below 50. Like it was horrible. We had that coupled with the quantitative tightening over this whole last cycle kind of maybe depressing things. So now that suddenly we're busting out of it and getting these great readings at 52, like I wonder what you think of this Ewok, because what that has meant in the past is like within the next 18 months, like the top of the bull market is going to be coming, meaning, it somewhere mid 2027 or whatever, we're going to be there. I don't know if that's what we're going to see. I tend not to think that, or is it just going to mean there's no way that we're getting these horrible new lows that people are calling for? Like we're already seeing these great polling numbers coming in and all this. And I understand you can't just put everything on PMI and other indicators have quit working in the past and yada, yada, yada. But I mean, it's the same point we've already been saying, just with more good news in these kind of conditions. It really doesn't make me think that all that adds up to new horrible lows, 35K later this year.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't think it's one or the other, right? I don't think it's, well, we're either not going to get lows or we're going to get a high. Well, that could be both. I mean, I think we've been saying it for several months that things are setting up to be very, very bullish. You've got all these factors coming in, although, it is a extended forecast, right? It's not right away. When you have months like that are above 50, you're right. What is it? What did you say? I think it is like between 14 and 18 months future prediction type thing.
Like 18 months, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it isn't right away. But the run up doesn't have to happen right away either. We keep saying how things are setting up. I think there's just so much animosity in the government toward the president that they push back on everything. So I think that's why you see a lot of maybe bearish opinion still, but we have the setup for things to be very, very good. People just need to kind of go with the flow. So again, this is all easy looking back on after it happens. Very difficult to call sometimes, but I'm still seeing all this bullish sentiment, and that's why I still feel this way. I still feel like we've got nothing but up to go. And I think we've gone through the majority of the pain that we've seen. So
yeah,
maybe I'm just a overly optimistic person, but it was a rough downturn, and it's been rough, especially with PulseChain the past couple of years. We've seen a lot of sell off. So I hope it's over.
No, I tend to agree with you. I think people are just so prepared for doom and gloom, and that's all that's really feeding each other on social media. I think you brought up good points about Trump as well. I mean, people absolutely hate him. Obviously, he's a polarizing figure no matter what.
Yeah.
And they're constantly going to battle that. Nobody likes what's going on with war and things like that. What we're seeing with gas prices here in the U.S. I mean, yeah, it's not great. And everywhere you look, it's basically doom and gloom, which to me, yeah, I agree with you. It makes me think that things are going to start going on. I mean, the stock market's just relentlessly gone up and seems to not give a shit about anything that's going on. So, and
which is a good sign. It's a great sign.
Yeah, I think Johnny and Crypto 7 brought it up earlier in the chat. I mean, like, that's a good sign for us later on as well, one would think. So, yeah, I really tend to agree with you. I mean, all these things are lining up to look good. And it just baffles me that when things have thrown us such a curveball over the last few years, and maybe it's that we have actually gotten severely kicked in the teeth. You know what I mean? Like, we experienced no bull market. Like, we got nothing at all. It's been absolutely horrible. And some of the people, like the Bitcoin maxis and a lot of the people that we're talking about, did at least experience something decent. You know what I mean? At least Bitcoin went up. You know, they got almost a 2x from the last all-time high. So there's some good vibes. So they're more inclined to say, like, no, hey, it's, you know, everything's going according to plan. You know, we're going to go down 75% Q4, blah, blah, blah. And they can't even imagine. Johnny put it well in the chat earlier. Like, Ethereum is still a much smaller unit to buy than Bitcoin. There are people that, since the beginning of time and for the rest of the time, people are going to want to make a lot of money easily. Now, it isn't necessarily easily, but they're not going to want to just buy Bitcoin. I mean, people are going to look into speculating on things, and I think they'll do it within crypto again. And Ethereum exists still, and many people believe in it. And like you said, everything's being built on it. So,
And I believe. Well, go ahead.
No. I was referencing the super chat. You go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Give credit to him, and then I'll make my point.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I saw you say finally getting to catch us live, so I appreciate you being here, and we appreciate the super chat. Thank you.
Yep. So with Ethereum, it is that whole unit-based thing. You know, you can get more of them for the same price. You can get a hell of a lot more Pulse. So, you know, again, I think people will realize that stuff, and they'll filter our way. So, yeah, that's all I really had.
Cool. Well, it is interesting. I mean, you can't deny it's interesting to see all this, and my God, would it feel good to fucking be right for one time in the next few months. So anyway, we appreciate all you guys being here. If you're enjoying the show so far, hey, do us a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. We do this every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we appreciate all of you being here. Let's go ahead and head into the PulseChain ecosystem. So we'll see where we've been at there. We've seen Pulse move up here over the last 48, 72 hours or so, kind of with the rest of the market pulling back a little wee bit here today. But yeah, Pulse in particular actually has moved up decently. I was up over 5 zeros and an 8 earlier today. So we've seen a little bit of a pullback. We're at 40785 for Pulse. Pulse X, which was up over 6, is now at 5059. We have Inc at 35 cents. Hex at 00135, eHex at 000606, and ProveX still hanging out in this zone, which it has kind of liked as its floor for most of its existence here at 40636. PDI has also been making its way up here over the last couple days as well. But that's neither here nor there. What do you think of where we're at, Ewok? I mean, we can just go ahead and look at the Pulse chart first. I think we probably want to focus on ProveX after that, like we have been. But if you want to look at Pulse, let's do that, because it's been a not insignificant move here over the last couple days. It kind of nice little move up. Again, we're seeing it start to pull back. I don't know where we'll go, but man, we've been hanging around in this new all-time low for a little while now. I feel like it's been a matter of months. I could be wrong, but it seems like that's where we've been. So what do you make of where we're at? And could we be forming a bottom? I mean, I've heard, you know, we've said stuff like that for 48,000 times over the last few years, but I've heard compelling reasons, particularly from Dylan from Fiat and Fame, talking about like his reasoning to think that the ecosystem's at fair value now. But yeah, what do you think of Pulse? And then we'll zoom out, kind of look at what we can here.
Well, yeah, I mean, just here's the good thing that I'm seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times we've approached this or tapped this 5069 area, right? So that is being defended very, very well. Now, here's what I said last week. You know, we had, where was last week? I forget what day that was, the 26th or 27th, that we had pulled back, you know, below the trend line again, but now we're above it, and it is making quite a nice move. Now, what we really want to do is pass this area that we had back here, April 17th and 18th. of the 509 area, 91, I guess it is, and move on past that. That to me would be a good signal for bullish times to come. Anything less than that, I believe it would come crashing back down. I'm still seeing, again, I'm not a wallet watcher by any means. I do see what some people post though. And I know there was a major swap from Pulse X into Pulse, which contributed to a lot of this from one of our big whales or sellers or whatever it was. Anyway, that's what contributed to a lot of this movement. So there has been a rotation of PulseX into PulseChain. So not exactly sure what the reasoning was. I saw some speculation of possibly them winding up some more validators. That I don't know. Again, I don't have any proof of that. But again, I like the looks of this floor that has been made and defended several times. So, yeah, I mean, again, when you zoom out, it looks horrendous, right? I mean, this is not a pretty picture.
No.
But in order to go up, you've got to start somewhere. And I do like the strength that I'm seeing here. If this continues up and gets past some of these previous levels, then it may be time to say, maybe a good time to start talking about it, people, instead of just ragging on the bags that you hold. So, again, you got to start somewhere, and I think that's about where we're at. But I do like what I'm seeing as far as support and this floor goes.
And it does make sense with everything else that we've been saying. I mean, not one person is really vocal out there anywhere, saying that these are the PulseChain lows or anything like that. And usually when that's the case is when something does turn around. So for me, I think, like you said, it's hit that area 5 times at this point, and that we've been here so long. I mean, it feels like it would be a bottoming, but man, everybody, including myself, I mean, you're so gun shy to say that, because how many times have we done it before, obviously, and then we go down through it. But
well, we've hit it 7 times. So
yeah, okay,
7 taps on that level. Now, obviously, you tap it too many times, and you're going to break through it. So, we do know that truth is also out there as well. So, we can't get too overly excited. However, there's something or someone out there that is defending that price. They don't want it to go too much lower.
Well, 7th time is a charm. That's what I hear. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that anyway. We'll continue to monitor where we're at there. Do you want to look at the ProveX chart as well? Because
I'm pulling it up here.
Okay, it's been kind of hanging down at this range. I have to ask you if you bought any more around this point, because this is, it's hung here for a while. I mean, this is the zone that the price that it's kind of like to hang out at. I mean, I remember when it was at 4.058 for a little while. And again, you and I and anybody that were in Buck's pool prior to the launch of ProveX, we've really only been in profit since launch. I mean, right around 4 zeros and a 4 is where our sacrifice rate would have been. So you got to keep in mind, and that's great, obviously, but you got to keep in mind, for anybody that sacrificed like straight to the ProveX wallet, you're about 30 to 40% down right now, basically 35% down. So, but again, this still looks pretty decent to me. I mean, we're consolidating here. I mean, and right around here is the level in which we took off on those huge green candles back at the beginning there that you can see. It was right about here when Richard started posting about it. We started to see the chart come up, sold pretty much all of that off, but then it's, gone back up, and it's only sold a little bit of it off again. So did you buy any more? First off, I'll ask you around this range. If not, I think maybe you should. And what do you think we go from here?
Yep, I did did couple nibbles here and there. I don't have a whole lot of extra cash right now. I'm pretty well invested. I like where I'm at. I am trying to pick up a little bit here and there. I do like a lot of the prices that we're at. So, trying to continue to fill the bags. And I don't know who mentioned it earlier, but That was Philly. 100 million Pulse X for $590, man. That's crazy, right? To get those type of deals, right now. But yeah, I like where this is at. I'm continuing to take some nibbles. I don't again, I'm not the type to just say, all right, this is it. I'm going all in, and
Yeah.
what liquid that I do have, I would like to wait it out and see. But I am picking it up at some levels, and accumulating a little bit more. I do like this, but this trend actually also looks a little bearish to me.
Yeah.
There isn't a whole lot of bullish. You get a higher, here's your higher high, then here's your lower high, and then again a lower high, and it can, so we're seeing a pattern here that does look like it's headed down a little bit more. When you put it together like this, it looks more defined, right? So I'm not seeing anything quite yet, that this is going to turn around. So I have taken a few nibbles in here over the weekend. I liked where it was. I didn't catch this low here like I wish I would have, but again, it's all relative, right? If this thing does what we think it can do, anywhere in this vicinity is going to be a good price, I believe. So yeah, I will continue to keep an eye on it. I have been picking up some here and there, and we'll continue.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. I do agree with you. I mean, yeah, that recent trend, I guess, is looking a little bearish, but we'll see what happens. And you mentioned with Pulse, it's seeming like somebody is defending a specific price. Maybe that happens with ProveX as well. And I think there may be extra incentive with ProveX to do that. I mean, we've talked ad
Yeah.
nauseum about how, I think there is a purpose more than just what this product is and having a token attached to it. I think there's a lot of advertising to come around this, obviously,
Yeah.
not only because what ProveX is an onboarding ramp into PulseChain and into crypto, but also you want the token to look good,
Sure.
and, we've talked about it being tied mainly to stables and Ethereum and stuff like that. So yeah, it is interesting because you'd think it would move different than the rest of the ecosystem. It's not as heavily tied to Pulse and all those tokens as some of the other stuff. So, yeah.
Well,
Any fun?
I mean,
Yeah.
you realize that it is only 52 days old. So,
Yeah.
we're also there as well. You can't judge anything too crazy. Hex bottomed out at what, day 33. So, that's all the further we are at this point. And, it's really hard to determine anything. Charts don't mean a whole lot this early. But yeah,
Is what it is.
is
That was
what
the
it
end of your
is.
sentence, I guess. Okay.
That was it.
All right, cool. Any final thoughts on the Pulse ecosystem in terms of prices or anything, though?
No, I don't think so. I didn't pull up the I would like to. I forgot to pull up the what you call it, the fear and greed index here. So let's share this. And it's at 50.
That
Quite
is very strange.
interesting. Very interesting, right?
I don't believe buy it, but okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what it's saying. That's why with the sentiment I'm still seeing out there, I mean, I haven't seen as much negativity lately. I think people just kind of went away.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the people who are going to be gone are gone, have been gone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you're here now, you're not going to leave. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think Crypto 7 just said it too. There's a lot of great people that are still here. Yes, we are going to make it. I have full faith, but I don't know that the hard part is completely over, but we're definitely on our way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm really not seeing as many. I mean, I also just don't get on Twitter, but I'm not seeing as many like dissertations by people like calling
Yeah.
Richard a scammer and spaces just constantly bitching at each other. That probably is happening, and I just don't listen to them because they suck, frankly. But yeah, it is what it is. Anybody that's here at this point still is not going to go anywhere. I mean, that's just where we're at right now, I think.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. Well, good
Well,
to see where we're at. We'll obviously continue to monitor everything within the PulseChain ecosystem. And do you want to look at this and I only have like 2 more topics on my sheet. I'm okay if we end a little early tonight because there's tons of stuff going on. But I think we should look at this Brian Armstrong Coinbase thing.
Sure.
If you want to pull up his post the other day. So this was very interesting. I think it kind of caught crypto Twitter by storm. Basically, Brian Armstrong, which say what you want about the guy, I think he is relatively transparent, or seems that way to me, just with what I've seen from him over the year. But essentially, Coinbase laying off, and I forget the exact percentage, but a good percentage of its workforce, and apparently attributing a lot of it to AI. I don't know if he actually said that in this statement, the email that he wrote to all these people, but I think that he did. And then a lot of people obviously pointing at something like this as a major sign of the lows are in. This is what happens at the end of bear markets and things like that. This is pretty long, so we'll just kind of get to what matters. It's just the fact that this even happened, really. But Armstrong says, this is an email I sent earlier today to all employees at Coinbase. He says, team, today I've made the difficult decision to reduce the size of Coinbase by 14%. I want to walk you through why we're doing this now, what it means for those affected, and how this positions us for the future. He says, why now? 2 forces are converging at the same time. We need to be front-footed to respond to both. First, he says the market. Coinbase is well capitalized, has diversified revenue streams, and is well positioned to weather any storm. Crypto is also on the verge of the next wave of adoption, with stable coins, prediction markets, tokenization, and more taking off. However, our business is still volatile from quarter to quarter. While we've managed through that cyclicality many times before and have come out stronger on the other side, we're currently in a down market and need to adjust our cost structure, blah, blah, blah. Second, he says, AI is changing how we work. Over the past year, I've watched engineers use AI to ship in days what used to take teams weeks. Non-technical teams are now shipping production code, and many of our workflows are being automated. The pace of what's possible with a small focused team has changed dramatically, and it's accelerating every day. All this has led to an inflection point, not just for Coinbase, but for every company. The biggest risk now is not taking action. We are adjusting early and deliberately to rebuild Coinbase to be lean, fast, and AI native. We need to return to the speed of focus of our startup founding with AI at our core. Reducing headcount costs. We're fundamentally changing how we operate. We're building Coinbase as an intelligence. This is all just kind of corporate speak stuff. Fewer layers, faster decisions, no pure managers. Every leader must be strong and active individual contributor. AI native pods will be concentrating around AI native talent who can manage fleets of agents and drive outsized impact. In short, AI is bringing a profound shift in how companies operate, and we're reshaping Coinbase to lead in this new era. This is a new way of working, and we need to leverage AI across all of our jobs. To those who are affected, I know there's a real people, blah, blah, blah. I'm grateful, he says. All impacted team members will receive an email, blah, blah. We'll take care of you. Maybe we won't. For those affected, we will be providing a comprehensive package. Coinbase prides itself on talent density. Our employees are blah, blah, blah. How we move forward to the team that is staying. I know this is a difficult day. I don't really care about this type of stuff. Over the past 13 years, Coinbase that emerges from this, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Long story short, they're axing 14% of their people in favor of, I guess they've already been using AI, but they're a lean, mean cutting machine, and the prices are going, prices of things are going down. So they're making a move like this. I mean, he pretty much said it himself right at the beginning of this. So, I mean, it's not so much the reasoning for all this, how everybody's impacted and all that. It's just the fact that this happened right now, Ewok, and being familiar with things that have happened in past crypto bear markets, basically. So, what do you make of the timing of this? I guess what's your opinion also of just Brian Armstrong long term? Because I think he has done some really good things. And then people think he's a sellout. And it's one of those things where you fly too close to the sun, or you get as big as he is, there you're going to have people that love and hate you. You know what I mean? So what do you make of all that?
Well, so we know that they list just about any garbage token that comes along. And I have a problem with people that still try to gatekeep Hex and PulseChain and the, Richard Hart just in general. There was a comment made, and I don't even remember who made it, that they had that maybe they were working for him and had mentioned it.
That was a total joke. The thing I sent you was a joke. Because
was it a joke?
Yeah. So just I'll just set up what you're talking about. So there's a bunch of people that maybe some really did work for Coinbase, maybe some didn't, but this thing caught on yesterday where like one person said, I worked at Coinbase for 8 years and I was in charge of uh, turning off people's accounts for no reason. Like, which some of them may have been real and they were venting
Yeah.
after they got fired. Well, then it became like a copy pasta funny thing where people were like, I've worked at Coinbase for, and yeah, the one I sent you was a Hex person saying that we were told to like purposely gatekeep PulseChain and all this, which I just thought it was funny because they started copying it and forming it to all their own stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So all the more that I've been on here lately, I wasn't sure if it was true. It said something about having to sign an NDA, all that good jazz about it. But it is still true. Like, I mean, it's true that we are still gate kept, and there has to be a reason for it. I believe one of the reasons is that he knows that Richard has always been about self custody, which basically blows his business model out the window, right? He wants to be the on ramp, off ramp, which he can still be, but I believe he also wants to be able to custody the coins. So, you know, if what did I say to you earlier when you had said something this? I said bottom signal number 95,246 or something like that. Um, you know, these things happen at the bottom of markets, and this is a prime example of one of them where they're 14%. I wonder how many employees they have. That number was never really disclosed. I'm sure it's probably not hard to find out. But I'm sure it's in the, tens of thousands of people would be my guess. So 14% is quite a large number. So yeah, I'm not surprised. AI has taken over a lot of jobs, and this is one of those areas where it's probably streamlining some processes. Unfortunately, it sucks for people, but for companies, they're loving it because they can do the work of 10 people for nothing. So
Yeah.
it's part of the AI trend, I believe. We do have to be careful though that all of this AI stuff is not accurate and it can make some major mistakes. So if you are looking at AI for your business, be extremely careful on what its job actually is.
Well, yeah, and we have no idea in what capacity they're using it and how it
Right.
works. But yeah, I mean, I can tell you from some of my professional dealings with people that have tried to use it, it is definitely a net negative overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends on what you're AI. That not to get on a whole side tangent, but just saying AI is just such a loaded way of describing anything. Like, are we
Yeah.
talking about an LLM? What in what mode are we talking about AI? I think that there are good aspects about it. There are heinous, trashy, horrible aspects of it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the ads I get on YouTube every day.
Right.
Yeah, that post by the Mikey.pulse guy is definitely a shit post. I was looking at the comments. I mean, I know you, I guess, bought it too, but I'm just looking at the comments, and there are people that are like, "Hey, would you like to come on my stream? I'd love to hear you talk about this." And it's clearly a joke, but
Is it clearly?
100%. This guy's been in the
Okay.
Pulse ecosystem for years. He's just, and I like that he did it though. I mean, it's the whole thing that you can do these days where you can just pretend something happened and
Yeah, I
frame it
guess.
a certain way and it gets all around. I'm going to read it real quick. I'm actually going to, can I send it to you again and you bring it up?
I
'Cause
have it. I have it right here. Hang on. I have the link. Let me snag it and put it here in the right
I mean,
window.
there's no way I can prove that it's false, but I'm 99% sure this is a joke and it's a good joke and it got tons of retweets and engagement, which is the whole point. But his point is trying to elaborate on Coinbase doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it really worked for them. So he says, today I was fired from Coinbase after 7 years of total dedication to Brian and his team. My mistake? I mean, just the way this is written. asking why we're protecting users from PulseChain while simultaneously listing every low liquidity meme coin known to man. HR sat me down, slid over a 47-page NDA, and politely explained PulseChain doesn't exist. Richard Hart never existed. And if users discover self-custody, we all have to learn how to code again. They made me sign something called a Decentralization Awareness Suppression Agreement. Apparently, it's very important that nobody finds out you can trade without us. Anyway, bullish on whatever got me fired. It's a good post, and look how much I couldn't believe it. I didn't notice it got like almost 800 likes, all 200 retweets. Pretty good stuff. And Liberty Swap got the joke and made a funny comment. Just in time to experience our very exclusive pre-layoff phase. You'll see some of the gullible parties if you continue to scroll down. I don't need to shout them out, but you will see it. Yeah, but good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Funny. I like it. So, I mean, this is the kind of thing that happens whenever there's like a copy pasta, everybody talking about the same thing and posting the same thing.
I gotcha. See, I didn't read that far into it to realize that he was joking. I just read it. I'm like, oh, that.
Yeah, I had just already seen alleged actual Coinbase employees basically starting off tweets like that earlier in the day. And then a bunch of people just, there you go. Now you're seeing what I think what I was looking at there.
The Vibra Finance one.
Yeah, he's clearly messing around. And it's funny. And I like it. So, okay. I don't know if we have to just silently keep reading it or not. I guess we can move on.
Well, no, okay, never mind. I was just reading to see what it said. I was trying to find something that he said. Guys, I'm just joking.
Okay. He's not going to say he's just joking. That's the whole point. Yeah.
All right. Fair
you
enough.
People, I tell you, you're so gullible. You think that Sophia is Richard's girlfriend or something. Okay. So any final thoughts on the Coinbase thing? Other than this is something that happens at like these stages of bear markets. And of course, we haven't had all like the Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, all that stuff happen. But it is interesting. Not that this is like a scam, but to see these layoffs is interesting at this time, I think. So
yeah. No more thoughts on that.
Okay.
I did want to bring up our weekly update on the hex holders up to 9,058,686 total holders at this point.
Okay. So, very good.
Just an update. That's all.
That effort continues. Yeah. Dusting people with hex tokens is definitely good. And that's hex on Ethereum, obviously. So good to see that. Anything else you wanted to get into at all, Ewok, that we could finish up with?
Yeah, I do have one more thing that I thought would be an interesting topic. I mean, this is rumor only, obviously. But did you see the tweet from Rand today?
I did not.
Okay, so Rand Neuner, who obviously is I don't even remember what the hell his show is. I don't watch it anymore.
Crypto Banter. Yeah.
Crypto Banter, yes. So he said, I was summoned to a secret location to interview a guest that I have wanted to interview for a while. We had to sign a strict NDA, but we made it happen. Interview was fire. We will release in a day or two when he is out of the location. So I thought that was quite interesting. Lots of speculation that it may be Mr. Hart. I saw
no way.
Where was it? Hang on. There's another rumor alert here. Because of his current location, possible location, and knowing where Rand is. So anyway,
what does that say? I can't see that. What does that say?
So location is Africa, and Rand is in South Africa as well. So
okay,
it does list Richard's current location. That isn't always accurate. But it does list it as Africa. There's been speculation that he's in, who knows where he is. I've heard Dubai, I've heard other places, but current location did show Africa there for a little bit. So this would be cool if he's actually having an interview with somebody. again, something to think about. Again, it is not likely, I would say, and
I'd say it's
you know,
guaranteed not happening, but go ahead.
just knowing that Rand has interviewed him before. He said a guest that I've wanted to interview for a while. So he had had him on his show before. So I don't know if it was technically an interview like that, an interview style. He used to do, what was it, around the crypto horn? It was almost like the ESPN, like around the horn. Yeah, kind of.
Max Kelly.
Yeah, so they would do that type of thing. So, anyway, speculation, rumor, but I thought it was interesting anyway.
Well, it won't be Richard Hart. It probably won't be anybody of note. And Rand just wrote a bullshit tweet for engagement, and then it's not going to
That's
be
possible
anybody.
too.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what he does. So, if it is Richard, hey, color me shocked beyond belief, but I don't buy it. So, I guess we'll see.
Fair enough.
Rand is the most clickbaity engagement farming guy of anybody there is, I think. Let's answer this question before we get out of here to try to help somebody out. So David6690 says, I have 10K and I want to put in, but I don't know which hex to put it in, and I don't want to split it. Well,
split it.
Well, wait a minute. First off, we don't give financial advice here. So, I mean, if you were a good boy, David, you would buy the Vanguard Bond Fund. And but let's do this. We won't tell David what to do with his 10K. You could run a 10K. That'll help your heart and your health. But let's say what we would do if we were like looking at the PulseChain ecosystem. Now, he's fixated on Hex. But I mean, I'll just say this. If this were me and I wanted the main umbrella I'd be looking at is like the Richard Hart ecosystem, I would just want to split this evenly among PulseX. I would do both hexes and absolutely prove X. So that's what I would want to do. I would want to split it just evenly. If I had, this is assuming no allocation to like any of the tokens yet, I would split it evenly amongst all of them. I personally maybe even skew it more to prove X and less to the hexes or something. But I don't think there's any horribly wrong way to do this. I think just splitting it evenly among all those is maybe the best thing to do, because we don't know what's going to go up when. Everybody's going to tell you, no, I'm an idiot, you got to do this instead. This is one that's going to go up. That usually never wins. But
yeah,
what would you do, Ewok?
What would I do? I would probably take half of it and split it between the two hexes, and then I would take the other half and split it amongst the other 3 or 4 tokens. I don't know that I would buy incentive. Probably not.
I agree. Yeah.
Again, not financial advice, DGen Moonboy. But yeah, I would probably try and equally allocate into some of those, the other 3, the ProveX, the Pulse, and PulseX. Because you're always going to want to have the gas token. If you are just looking to invest in the Richard Hart ecosystem, but that's how I would do it anyway.
Yeah, I would take my 10K, I would divide it by 4 to be clear. I do 2,500 Pulse, 2,500 PulseX, 2,500 split between the hexes, and do 1,250 each, and then 2,500 ProveX. That's what I would do. But David, you can do whatever you want. That's how I would look at it. Ewok looks at it a little bit differently. If it were Ewok, he'd say put the whole 10K into E-Hex and then stake it for 15
years.
Yeah. But yeah, no problem, David. Hopefully that does help. But if it goes down 99%, don't blame us, because we've had that happen before as well. So
yeah. We're all down. We're all down that much. So yeah.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Well, if David's even asking this question, he has a pretty high risk appetite and probably already has some crypto, I imagine. So yeah, but good stuff. All right. Well, hey, awesome chat tonight. Good to see all of you guys in the chat. It's good to see Bitcoin back up over 80K. We'll see if this continues and if the bears will get trapped, or if they will be right like they have been for seemingly an eternity. And, Bitcoin just goes to 35K here in 6 months. But
yeah.
I don't think either of us think that's going to happen. Even if we do go down, to 60 or slightly below there again, I think the horrible doom and gloom calls are probably not going to happen. So any final thoughts from you tonight, Ewok?
Yeah, just a shout out to all you guys. I mean, there's 80 people here watching, whether it's between YouTube and X. Um, Thank you again for coming every week and making this thing go.
Mhm.
We couldn't obviously do it without you all if you weren't here. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah. Yep. And same for me. Yeah. We appreciate all of you being here every single week. It's awesome to have the chat, especially as we get to this point where crypto topics seem to be fewer and further between,
Yeah.
since not what's happening in the market now. So to have you guys to commiserate, to add questions like David's just right there. And yeah, again, Pulse Tides, thank you so much. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but thank you so much again for the super chat earlier. So,
Yeah.
uh, cool. Well, hey, we should be back next week, same time, same channel, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for Crypto Ewok, this has been Backstreet Boy Crypto. Backstreet's back all right here on the Creed of Crypto. We'll see you guys.
See ya.